Welcome back, fuckfit.
Hey, whoa. Loose. Got a stray bullet over here.
Catching strays today.
Collateral damage.
Shrapnel, they call it. Shrapnel. Christmas time is here. Happiness and cheer.
Is that how the song
Carter's phone again. I don't know. I was trying to sing the Peanuts Christmas. We got some Christmas decorations going on tonight. And I was going to start the episode singing a Christmas song. And I was also thinking how funny it would be to just start it off with the most foul language I could. But we go in with the Christmas song. Yeah, what do you guys think of our Carter? Go to the wide shot. Let's see what the studio looks like.
I did start off on the wide shot.
You got a couple strange light
It's
jobs.
festive. It's Christmas.
That sounds like Kevin Gaber a little bit.
Kevin Gaber, who's that?
You haven't seen that kid?
No. TikTok?
It's Christmas. He, I don't know. He's actually kind of a sad story. The kid is basically totally crippled. His bones are like bird bones, super
Fragile.
brittle. But his parents are totally exploiting him on social media, like terribly bad.
Oh God.
And they started this thing. They started this thing on him where I don't remember how it happened, but basically that he died, and that the parents are re-uploading old videos of Kevin.
What?
They faked his death, or he actually died?
No, he's still there, but so he's still alive. But in all the comments of his videos, it's just rest in peace, Kevin. It's almost like he's still with us. All this stuff. And then him and his dad posted a video. He's bawling his eyes out. I'm not dead, you guys. I'm still here.
This is so sad. What the fuck?
But the parents are just totally taking advantage of him. You should pull up. You should pull up a video because he's the kind of kid.
Do we even want to promote children on this podcast?
Well, I don't know. He's out there on his own anyway.
I only support the Rizzler.
He's a kid.
In Big Justice.
He's one of those kids that you just look at and you think needs to be punched in the face.
What?
But then
He's already got glass bones.
But then you know that he really is
yeah.
just making the best of a situation.
Oh, do they have a video with the Costco guys?
I'm not sure what the.
Yeah, Big Justice. I see Big Justice right here.
Oh, this kid. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, I've definitely seen this kid.
I
He's
can't
got
hang
a
out
lot
with
of-
friends.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen
Why
this
you
kid.
guys bullying me?
I do question what his parents post. Specifically, the reason I follow this kid is because he's a Lego fan. So I've seen videos of his where he's
You
reviewing.
want to punch him in the face?
That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get. Why do you want to hurt this kid? I feel like
mean-
we got to protect him.
Yeah, maybe in a few years he'd have a punchable face. But.
I don't know. I think he's just a little bit over the top obnoxious. That's my take on him.
Well, I
Just
mean,
hate children.
I could see that until you said that he had.
Wednesday, friends.
I could see that until you said he had bird bones.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't know anything about him, if you just watch the videos on surface level,
Yeah,
he's
like-
a little bit obnoxious. But then you realize he's got bird bones, and he really is making the best of a tough situation.
I only saw videos of him at the Lego store, and he looked like he was having a ball. I was game for it. I'm pretty sure I liked the video.
Curtis is on the list.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Hope you're enjoying at home. As you know, we always try and keep things family friendly and non-offensive as best we can. But you know, some nights the Pepsis are just flowing and boys are cracking jokes, and you might catch a stray. So we're about to start the show, and Curtis goes, "I'm going to get a pop. Anyone want one?" We're like, "Pops all around, pops all around." So we all got a cold one to start off the show. New topic, Mom says. Yeah, well, This poor kid. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with it. I'm not bullying him or anything.
You
I'm just
said
saying,
you wanted to punch him.
Punch him in the face.
I'm saying if you don't know anything about it on surface level, it's a little bit obnoxious.
If I saw him on the road, I'd probably swerve and hit him.
All right, listen to this. Listen to this. Just to get on something else. Last night, I'm driving with Curtis in the dark, right? We're going to pick up a Facebook Marketplace pickup, okay? It's sketchy. It's at night. The pickup went fine. That was fine. On the way there, we're following an older person driving a car.
Not an old person.
Okay. You can see the handicap placard hanging from the rear view mirror, okay?
You can see.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
mean they're old.
Okay. Jesus, okay. So they get the handicap placard hanging from the window, and Curtis is in his big truck, and he's riding their ass, and the headlights are blasting through the cab of their car, and all I can see is the backs of these guys' heads, and I can actually see Curtis's headlight reflecting in all three of his mirrors, the rear view and the side mirrors, back into the guy's fucking face, and the guy couldn't see a thing, and so I said to Curtis, I'm like, just lay off him, don't. Curtis is like, well, if I don't, if I lay off, he's gonna go slow.
Speed limit is 55. But
Okay.
You're doing 35.
So,
That's
Then-
pretty egregious.
okay, but keep in mind the guy can't see anything because Curtis's lights are blinding him. Okay, if you were in this guy's car, you would not be able to see anything but the lights behind
Yeah,
you.
and I can vouch. If somebody's riding me like that and I can't see, I will purposely go slower if they're right behind
You
me.
literally
Yeah.
can't see, so I don't know what
Sometimes.
option you have. You don't
Sometimes.
have. I told Curtis, I'm like, you're not giving the guy a choice because he can't see. So then, because Curtis isn't letting up on this guy, we get to a passing zone, and the guy slows down to like 5 miles an hour, and Curtis still didn't pass him in the passing zone. He's riding the guy's.
There are cars coming the
He's
other
acting
way.
like he's gonna drive through the guy's back windshield. So then we get out of the passing zone. The guy pulls over and comes to a stop. Curtis now is like about to stop in the road behind this car, and I'm yelling, "Go around! Go around!" And he's sitting there behind him. I'm like, "What do you want these people to do? They pulled over and stopped. Like now,
all right,
now
hold
we're
on,
standing
hold on.
behind him like we're gonna murder them. Like what are we doing?"
There were cars coming the other way in the passing zone. And when we got out of the passing zone, he didn't pull off to the side of the road. He just put his blinker on, and he was in the lane still.
So
No oncoming traffic.
He was driving erratic. What am I supposed to do?
Oh my God, he was not! You were
Can't take a
running the
chance.
guy off the road! You ran him off the road! He got off the road and you kept running him!
you can't take a chance on a guy like that. You just don't know what they're gonna do.
My point was to Curtis, if you want to drive aggressive and fast and get around him. If you want to be behind the guy, be respectful and get behind the guy. You don't have to blind him and ride his ass. And then when he
that wasn't
makes
really-
from my position in the passenger seat, it was two obvious attempts to make you pass. And if I had not been yelling at you to pass, I don't think you would have.
What I would say is I wasn't actually riding his ass. And
He was.
Yeah,
and
let's see
it
you
was a-
drive, guy.
Let's
see you get behind the wheel.
The
I
problem,
do all the time.
How fast did you get going at the top of the hill by Lake Wentworth?
Oh, me?
That was
Speeding?
just a joke.
My one time I went speeding. I went speeding one time and I didn't even get a ticket for it. I was speeding about as fast as I could driving back home. Me, Matt, and Blaze, we had been painting a house all day. It was like wicked hot day. My truck didn't have AC. We had all the windows down, and we're going up this like super long hill, and because I got my friends in the car and I want to be cool, I'm like, yeah, I usually go about 90 up this hill. I've never done 90 on this hill, never ever. I'm like, yeah, I usually do 90 on this hill. It's easy to slow down because it's a hill. Because I'm going up the hill, right? So, yeah, I wanted to be cool with my buddies, so I dropped the hammer, and we're flying up this hill. We're in the upper 80s. I don't know if my truck would make it to 90 necessarily. This was Ron's old truck, but flying up the hill, 85 miles an hour, probably. State trooper coming the other way, and I start slowing down as fast as I can, and the state trooper whips around behind us, pulls us over, and it was a woman, and she gets out, and she's like, hey, I could see you were slowing down a lot back there, and I got you going 70 something, I don't remember exactly what it was. She caught me going pretty fast, and she was like, and I could tell you were slowing down a lot as soon as you saw me, so I was like, yeah, we're just coming home from work, whatever. And she goes, okay, well, I'm going to give you a warning because you got a clean record or whatever. But, that's that.
Was that it?
That was it. I got away scot-free.
That's not how you got out of the ticket? What'd you really do to get out of the ticket?
Whoa.
Yeah, I had to rizz her up. I had to, no, I mean, I don't even know. I was 16, This was a state.
She probably looked in.
Trooper.
She probably looked in and saw three sweaty, weird-looking guys.
We all had our NBC Odd Job shirts on too.
Probably in a rotted-out truck. She probably felt bad for you guys.
I thought
Yeah.
you did get a ticket for that.
Not in that case. So when I did get a ticket, it was years later, and I was over in Milton, and I was driving through. How downtown there you got to go slow. I was going slow, but there's a point where it goes from 30 to 40, and I was speeding up out of the 30 into the 40, and the police officer allegedly, he claims he caught me doing 50. There's no way in hell I was doing 50. I was in my green van. That thing, foot to the floor, did 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, honest to God, on the highway, if you weren't going up a hill, you could go 55, 57. You know what I mean? There's no way I was doing 50. I know I was accelerating going from the 30 to the 40, but I think he just saw a sketchy looking van and a long-haired kid, and he made something up to pull me over.
That's what you want to think.
That's what I want to think. But there's no way I was going 50 something, whatever he tried to say I was doing.
We don't take your kind here.
Yeah, it was a real Rambo scenario. But anyway, yeah, so I got a ticket for that, which I ended up just paying, which is a mistake. If you're under the age, what is it? Is it
18, I think.
Is it under 18 or is it under 21 in New Hampshire? I think it's under 21.
Maybe
I
it's
think I was
21.
like 19. I definitely was 19.
Or is it 20? I don't know.
It's like under the age of 20 or 21, you have to go to court to contest your license for any infraction in New Hampshire.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So this is what I want people to know. If you're in New Hampshire and you do get a ticket, take it to court. Don't just pay for it right away. If you're under 21, if you have to contest your license, take the ticket to court first, and if you can try and prove you're innocent, then it goes away. But
most
if you
of the time,
if
as
you,
long as it's not real egregious,
Well, right.
you'll get off with it if
or
you go to court.
and honestly, so what I've been told is if you take the ticket to court, if the officer that wrote you the ticket doesn't show up to court, it gets thrown out anyway. That's how I understand it. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I would recommend always taking your ticket to court if you're under 18, because if you pay for the ticket, you still have to go to court and contest your license. And 9 times out of 10, they'll just say, they'll be like, "Why do you need your license?" And I said, "For work." And he's like, "Yep, that's fine." And he cleared it. He was supposed to clear it, but basically what happened to me personally is they logged my speeding ticket 2 times, and I paid for it once. Right, went to court for it once. But they logged it twice.
This is a story that needs to be. Do you want to go into full depth on what happened? This is.
I can explain the whole
Yeah,
story.
how much did you pay?
I'm at the start of it now. I'm at the start of it.
Did you pay
know what
by
I mean?
check
This is how
or
the
did you
just
do it
listen.
online?
Yeah, but I just was gonna say.
I paid in person.
What's
at
your
the,
routing number?
Before you went full depth on it, I didn't know if you wanted to make a big time.
Well,
big
yeah.
to do by the time I got arrested.
Yeah, well, I'll get
yeah.
to it.
I don't know if you want to do that today.
Yeah,
or
pull
not.
up the mugshot. That'd be good.
I don't have a copy of it on hand.
Do you actually have a copy of it?
It exists.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
I don't want
I've
to.
never.
I don't want to tell you where to find it, but there's a database where you can find it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, I had a paper copy of it for a while, but I don't know what happened to it. But yeah, it does exist out there somewhere. I do have a mugshot. I'm not going to tell you what county it's in.
You should save that story for an episode where there's less of us here.
Where there's less of you, you don't want to. You don't want to hear it.
I mean,
Well,
I'm not
nah.
opposed.
I'm not opposed to it, but I mean,
No, that's what
that's
I
a you story. That's not a.
It's definitely better. Anytime there's any organic energy, it's better to slam the brakes on it and take a right turn rather than flow with the organic energy. So I think, I think Curtis made the right call there.
Speaking of
whatever.
organic
Let's make a
energy,
hard pivot. Forget about flow.
composting toilets.
Composting toilets.
That's all the organic energy you need right there.
I don't. What kind of? How much energy can you produce from your own composting
Well,
toilet?
think of it like
Do you
this: if
produce
you're gonna,
any energy from
if
it?
you if you get
Can't
your
you
no,
get,
think
like-
of it like this: you get your garden set up, you
Yeah.
compost your own, everything.
Yep.
You put it in your garden, you grow things, bam, right back to you.
Have you seen the incinerator toilets?
I have seen the incinerator toilets. Yeah.
I have not seen that.
It's like instead of running water to a toilet, you run a gas line, and then when it
Burns your
it
shit.
burns your shit, and then puts all the ashes in a little bag and plops it in a trash can, and you just gotta empty the trash can every once in a while.
I can't imagine that doesn't smell though.
Off-grid setup.
When it's burning. I think part of it, the deal though, is like when you close the lid before it starts the burning process. I think it all seals shut.
It's like it's more like a airplane bathroom where
Yeah.
where it comes over where there's like a
You don't get to see any of the.
You don't get to see it in action.
No.
they don't put a piece of glass over it. I wasn't trying to derail your story, but
Yeah, I mean,
No, I was just asking if you wanted to tell the whole story today or not. That's all I was saying.
I would.
Because it is it's a funny story when you go into full detail, and like Mom said, you did call me, and I can tell my part of the story too. So I mean, but whether you wanted to do it now or
Curtis
not,
thinks
but-
we need to do it when no one else is around.
Curtis doesn't wanna
it's
hear it.
way more funny. Like you,
He's heard it too many
I-
times.
it's way more funny when there's more people to react to it. So
Yeah, let's go ahead. Come on.
all right. Well,
all right.
Enough
Let
kicking
me
around.
Take it from the top.
let
Yeah.
me just.
Look,
I'll
re-
start
re-
where I left off.
All right, but yeah,
Yeah. Well, so I was just explaining about the time I actually got a speeding ticket and had to go to court, right?
yeah.
Because I was like 19, I had to go to court to contest my license so I could keep my driver's license. Otherwise, even though I paid my ticket, they would just take my driver's license away unless I showed up for this court date and said, I need my license for work, right? So I paid for the ticket. They cleared the ticket at court, and I thought I got away with this. I'm like, all right, well, that's it. I'm never going to speed again, even though I really don't think I was probably speeding in the first place, but that's neither here nor there, right?
Wait, didn't you just say you were speeding up the
He
hill?
admitted-
No.
guilt by paying the ticket.
No.
Oh, right.
So listen, so the time I was speeding, a state trooper pulled me over
That's
and
when
gave
you
me a
got the-
warning.
that's
That's
when
when
you
I
got the two-
that's when I was 16. Can you just listen to the fucking story?
Listen, man.
You're
Pay
getting
attention.
it all. You're getting it all wrong, and
Well,
I'm trying.
maybe if you were a little more clear.
I'm trying
It
to
was
make
pretty
it
clear.
clear, and you're still not listening. So again, let's start from the top. Okay, a state trooper pulled me over when I was 16 for actually speeding. I got a warning. A town cop pulled me over when I was 19. I don't think I was actually speeding. He claims I was. I paid the ticket. I went to
okay.
court, contested my license,
Yeah, I forgot
and
about
I thought I got away scot-free. Are we all on the same page?
yeah.
All right, thank you. So years go by, and I think everything is fine. No issues about it, right? Then the pandemic happens, and our town hall is closed down, right? So the town hall is closed. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to register my van. The town hall wasn't open. Supposedly, I guess there was an online option. I don't even know how. I legitimately do not know how you were supposed to know any of this, right? The town hall is closed. Everything is closed. This was the first couple of weeks in Pandemicville when things were legitimately closed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, arguably, yeah, you were in the first month, really, of the lockdowns. When did the lockdowns happen? In April?
It's like March. It's like that. in March.
January? Because we were in
Halfway
Florida
through
in
March.
January. Or we were in
Yeah.
Florida in February, March.
It doesn't.
sometime.
So it doesn't. It's not
Probably
a really
a
big
month
deal.
or
The
2
the
months
difference
after.
was though,
Everything got locked down.
I had just repainted my van. It used to be blue, and we painted it green. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was driving through a like bigger city type area, bigger town, not our
name drop
podunk.
it.
I'm trying to remember. Well, it was Epping police that arrested me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Driving through Epping.
You just gave it away.
What? That I was arrested?
No, the town.
Oh yeah. Well, Curtis said name drop it, so
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares? We
March
don't, like,
15th was
Well,
when
they
the
were-
first lockdowns happened. So
Okay. So yeah, it was that spring
and a half.
when I had painted the van anyway. So we had painted the van, and on my registration. So when you paint something, you're supposed to update it on the registration, right? You're supposed to, right? We live in a small town area. It's not that big a deal. People won't really bust your balls about it. But because I happened to be in Epping, they saw my van, which is on the registration. It looks weird because it was like a camper van conversion, and on the registration, I think it says truck somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like Dodge truck,
Yeah, probably.
and it's a 1995 Dodge van. You don't see a lot of them on the road anymore. We had taken all the badges off to repaint it, so the cop sees.
it was also uninspected.
It was uninspected. Thank you. That's what else was going on. That was part of the pandemic problem. It's also because I'm a piece of shit, right? I like to live life on the edge, and by that I just mean I can be irresponsible at times and not register my, or not that it wasn't registered, it wasn't inspected, like Carter said.
Yeah. I like to do that too.
Yeah, I think we like to keep a little bit of a rebel spirit around here, and inspecting your vehicle sometimes is a little bit too much of a bending the knee to the man, and so sometimes I put it off for several months, and in this scenario it did bite me in the ass. So listen up. Hadn't inspected the van, and we repainted it. So I'm riding through traffic. He immediately sees I'm not inspected and starts running my plates. So he's running my plates. We're sitting in traffic. He's a couple cars behind me. And then traffic starts to move again, and we're starting to thin out. And immediately he turns his lights on, and all the other cars are moving away, and he comes for me. It's clear that he's coming for me. Like, there's a lot of cars, so I was just slowing down to get over. Maybe he's not coming for me. Clearly, he was coming for me. So he gets to my window, license and registration. I give him my license and registration, and the first thing he does before he even goes back to the car is he's looking at my registration, and he goes, "What's going on with the plates on this van?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "On my computer it says they're registered to a blue truck." And I'm like, "Oh, I just repainted this. It used to be blue." I'm like, "Look, you're looking at the real registration for this van, and it says something like it says truck or something on the registration, right?" So when you look at it on paper, he's expecting to see a blue truck. He thinks the plates are on the wrong vehicle. It's on a green van that's uninspected. That was the initial reason for the stop. Okay.
Legitimate.
Legitimate, right? And that was the reason for the stop. And then I hand him back my license, and he probably would have given me a ticket for being uninspected, right?
Yeah.
That's probably all that would have happened, which is like a $50 ticket, right? Curtis has paid many.
75.
75. Okay. So that could have been what happened, but then he takes my license and registration back to the car, runs my license. And I don't know this yet, but after he ran my license, turns out my license was suspended because when I got that speeding ticket that I had to go to court for, they charged me 2 times. It was in the computer system 2 times for the same ticket. Okay. And because of the way these systems work, you can go on there and see that once, it's the identical charge 2 times at the same place, same time, right? It's on there twice. And you can see that one time I paid for it, went to court and got it cleared. And the other time I didn't pay for it, I didn't go to court, and I got my license suspended, right? Okay. Nobody clerically was willing to figure this out for me. So when the police ran my license, it came back as suspended. So he comes up to the window of the van and he goes, "I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle." And I just looked at him and I go, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Yep." And I know what that means. if you ever are stopped by police and you're stepping out of the vehicle, you're going away in handcuffs. Doesn't matter what you think is going to happen or what you thought might happen. They ask you to get out of the vehicle, you're going away in handcuffs. Or at least as far as I've always witnessed from movies and TV. So I got out of the car. He says to me, my license is suspended. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, how is that possible? And he goes, unpaid speeding ticket, missed a court date, license gets suspended. That's what happens. And I'm like, I've been to court. Like, I'm realizing
That's a bag over your head moment.
yeah. I'm like, what the, like, I'm so upset. I felt like it was a scene from Andor. You remember this? When all of a sudden the Empire is just taking over and everybody's just going to jail. That's what exactly what it was like. I was just like, how the hell is this possible? And so then I'm arrested. I'm in handcuffs. I'm sitting in the back of the police car, and all of a sudden I notice there's like at least 3 more police cars that have showed up, and they're tearing through my van, like just everything in there. And I had all my camping stuff in there, like tons and tons of shit in there. They're just tearing through it, dumping everything out, dumping my backpack out, like rifling through my van. And they left it a total disaster. And they ended up impounding my van, taking me to jail. And I got booked, fingerprinted, mugshotted. And then the guy was like, you can pay your own bail and leave, or pay your bail and hang out wait for somebody to pick you up. The guy was actually pretty cool. But I was like, I'll pay my bail and get out of here. And I paid, I don't remember what it was, but I had to pay my bail to get out. And then that's when I called Carter.
Yeah.
Or did I call you or Curtis? I called
Yeah,
one
you
of
called
guys.
me.
You called both of us, I think.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Carter's
really?
the one that answered.
Carter,
maybe.
Carter called you back.
Yeah.
Well, I got a call from this weird number, and I didn't answer it because I never answer any numbers I don't know. And I get a message, and Caleb's like, "Hey Carter, it's Caleb. If you could call me back, I need some help. Thanks." And so I called the number back, and it was, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was like Epping Police Department, blah blah blah, something. And I was like, what the fuck? Because that was the number I called back.
Caleb's a cop now.
And then somebody answers. An actual person answered, because I don't know if I had to go through a robot, like press this button or whatever. I'm like, hey, my brother just called me. Who is this? And I said, I don't know. I said, this is Carter Kinville. My brother just called me, told me to call him back. I mean, I don't know. He's like, what was his name? I said, Caleb Kinville. After I had already asked to speak to Caleb. And
Right.
so then he patched me through, and Caleb said that he was arrested and needed me to come pick him up. So,
And didn't I ask you to bring a trailer too, because we were gonna try and get my van?
yeah, I don't know. Did I bring a trailer that day? Or
I don't remember, but I do remember we went to the impound place that
And it
day.
was-
and
I
it
don't
was
think we were getting a
closed.
trailer. I think we were just going to see if we could get the
Yeah.
keys for your van.
That's right.
and drive it out.
Yeah, that's right.
We were just gonna drive it back.
We were
I
just
think.
gonna drive it back, risk it, and drive it back.
give somebody the keys that had a good license.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, it was a total disaster. And then we ended up having to go through all the paperwork and got it sorted out. And I did end up having to pay some money.
We had to pay the impound.
I had to pay the impound, and I had to pay some more court fees after it all.
Even though it was, well, I guess
It's not entirely just the law fucking me over. Getting charged twice for one ticket is what suspended my license, okay? But me having a sketchy vehicle and not making sure everything was up to code is what got me stopped. So it's a little of both, right? It's like you should play by the rules. That'll keep you under the radar. But at the same time, they did fuck me.
You can't really be that mad because of the fact that you were doing things. Not everything was above board, but
Yeah.
But the fact that they arrested you and rifled through all your shit,
Yeah.
and then didn't help you out at all, and basically told you good luck when
Yeah.
you left.
Well, it just basically what it made me realize is that like our legal system is like a big grinding like it's the trash compacting machine from the movie Robots. It's this big inferno. And it's just constant like if you get one little fleck, right? If you get on their radar at all of a sudden this machine it just keeps clawing and pulling. It's not very quick. It's real slow, but it's like a tractor beam. And once you're on it, once you're in it at all, it just it pulls you in. And the thing that they'll do, I don't remember what they were. They tried to say that I had missed a bunch of court dates too throughout this process, and I was like beside myself. I'm like I don't know. I was like, is anything open for one? Like what are you saying? I missed a court date. Turns out I missed a Zoom call I was supposed to be on at some point. I had no idea. I'm like, how are you supposed to know? Like a lot of this had to do with the pandemic and nobody actually working and everybody's passing the buck to everybody else. It just incompetence, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. The whole thing was crazy, but yeah, if you can make sure all your paperwork is in order. That's all I would say. That would save you a lot of headache. Don't speed.
It goes back to just too much regulation, I feel like.
I do also think that. I also think the police had no business bothering me for any of this. For the speeding. Are you kidding me? Speed limits? We don't have some oil embargo going on. We don't need to worry about the fuel efficiency in our car. We don't need speed limits. You know what I mean? Like, if I was driving aggressively, which I wasn't, right? Like everyone knows, we all know, right? If it's a busy street, there's people walking, there's a lot of traffic. You all know when it's busy, and you're like, oh, I should take it easy because it's busy. There's a lot of people around. I don't need to blow through town right now. You know what I mean? And you also know when somebody's driving like an asshole. And if somebody's driving like an asshole, yeah, pull them over. But just yeah.
I think the problem with that is it leaves it too ambiguous for getting pulled over. If you really weren't driving like an asshole, then they could pull you over for really anything and say, "Oh, but he was driving like an asshole," even though if they got rid of the
first
speed
of all,
limit.
I think they can pull you over for anything. I think they can pull you over just because they want to, right? But they don't have to write you a ticket.
A lot of
what
people
I'm saying.
they have to have technically they have to have reason, but I know.
But like how one
do.
time I
They do
was
anyway.
with Mom and we got pulled over driving the dump truck, and the police officers tried to say that I didn't have my seatbelt on, and I did. Like this was a conversation Mom and I had before the parking lot, like before the truck ever left the parking lot. She said, I was still a kid, I wasn't fully grown, and I was sitting in the front seat of the truck, and she said, please make sure you buckle your seatbelt, and I did. And then this guy tried to say, this little guy didn't have his belt on. And my mom goes, are you kidding me? Yes, he did. She goes, I didn't move the vehicle until he put his belt on. He's had his belt on the whole time. I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember this was, were you in the car with us?
I don't remember.
We were delivering firewood or something. We were in the dump truck. I remember I had my orange Kinville shirt on. And that's what I remember thinking. Like, how can you not see the black seatbelt across my orange shirt? He just had no reason. He just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they can make it up easily.
Yeah.
There's enough of those that are like borderline. You don't really have to prove anything.
I just didn't have the greatest of experience with the law. But again, some of it was my own doing. So live and learn.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel two ways about it because I think that there is an element of you have to they're rules for a reason and you have to play by the rules, and otherwise you see the consequences. But that's all gone by the wayside, more or less. If you wanna,
Yeah. You already fucking said that. It's half his fault. It's half not.
Jesus
We're just dumping on Curtis now. Is that all we're gonna do now?
I don't know. wasn't even saying that.
been dumping on
that
him
wasn't
this
what I
whole
was
time.
saying. I'm saying you can go totally the opposite direction and shoot up heroin and do all kinds of drugs and be homeless and be a total scumbag and
And get money from the government.
get
Yeah.
and get money
Free
and,
hotels.
And they,
If you go far enough,
if you
help
go
you
far
out.
enough the other direction, doesn't matter what you do. You don't get arrested. You don't get charged. You don't have to pay anything. But if you
Well, that
but
was
if you try
part
to
of my
pay-
mistake, right? Is I acted semi-competent, right, as a person. If I had started shitting myself and smearing it on the walls, they probably would have just said, "Drop it, drop the charges. We can't afford to keep this one locked up. This one's not going to help."
Yeah, it's a little bit. I don't know. It gets me fired up to think about it sometimes, and so I try to ignore it.
I live back in the woods, you see.
Yeah, I don't even
Woman
think.
and the kids and the dogs and me.
I'm also not to that. I'm not to that extent either. I'm not about having no government and no police or
gonna
anything
skin a
like that. But
Run it out loud.
I think there's a happy medium that doesn't ever seem to be met.
Yeah.
I should see if that song's on there.
Yeah, so we just found out on YouTube you can pay to use real music, but you have to pay like $30 per video you use it in. So depending on the project, I could see pulling the trigger on it, but
I'm surprised it's not more of a percentage type of thing.
some
You
stuff
probably
is.
ca-
Some stuff is revenue sharing options.
Yeah.
I think that makes
Can
more
you
sense.
can you go between the two? Do you have to? Is it a one-time payment or revenue share, or is it like
Different songs have different options.
Different songs, yeah, have different options. A lot of them were pay for one-time use in a video, and you know the funny thing too was that I was reading in the contract, and you can only play the song one time in your video.
Oh, really?
It's not like you have
Can't use it multiple times.
yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of weird.
Interesting.
Not
Yeah,
worth.
I don't know. It just we might get into it at some point. I don't know if we're gonna do it right now, but at some point we might get some real music instead of our free intro we got now.
Yeah.
But we've been ticking along with these episodes. We've this is episode like 16.
Yep.
So
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
We can drive now.
I said the first 100 episodes are scrap. You know, you got to find your feet. Everyone's got to find their voice on the mic. That's why we're rattling through them 3 days a week, because you got to burn through those first 100. And
I don't think burn through them is the right word, but definitely get a flow going.
Yeah.
Figure out
hey,
the dynamic.
did anyone watch Mr. Beast on Theo Von's podcast?
Not yet. Not yet.
I still really like Mr. Beast. I'm an old school Mr. Beast fan from back in the day.
Big beast head.
Yeah, big Beast head from the Mr. Beast 6000 era. He dropped the 6000, but I remember. I didn't forget. It's funny because he's talking to Theo Von, and Theo is familiar with him now, but not like his whole story, right? So he's going through the whole story beat by beat, and I'm like just reliving it with him because I remember it all. And I don't know. It's funny to listen to him talk because he is such a weirdo. Like he is such analytics nerd.
Surprising
One-
nothing's come out about him being a pedophile or something.
Well, I wanted to
They
get into
tried.
They tried, and
They
Theo
tried to
asked
take
him
him
about
down.
it. So here's what happened with Mr. Beast, from my understanding. My understanding is that some of the people that were at least mid-tier at his company, like people that had people working for them at his company, one of the guys was some form of pedophile or had charges against him in a different state, right?
He was in the videos, right? He was in the videos, I thought.
I don't know if he
I
was
thought
in
it
the videos, but he was like referenced, and this guy had some level of fan interaction, right? Whether it was through chats on live streams or something, but this guy was higher up. He had some level of fan interaction. I don't know all the
I thought he was a
details, but
character in some of his
You're thinking-
videos.
I don't think so. I don't think he was a character. This particular person that had charges against them in a different state. There's tons of videos that break down all the drama, but basically, more or less, Mr. Beast had essentially known, more or less, the evidence points that there's no way he couldn't have known that this guy was a suspect. You know what I mean? And probably shouldn't be working for Mr. Beast. You know, there's a lot of signs pointing to the fact that Jimmy knew about that, and once it became public that this guy was working for them, and people really picked up on the fact, like, oh, this guy's dirty. Like, we, you know, I can't believe he's working for Mr. Beast. Then it became a big thing, and I believe they fired him. Again, I don't know all the details. You got to look into it. But the important part is I wanted to hear what Mr. Beast himself was going to have to say about it. And this was like recent controversy. And Theo asked him about that. And Theo, again, being Theo Vaughn, he's not a hard-hitting journalist. He wants people to want to come on his show, so he's not going crazy. But he just asked Mr. Beast, he's like, I had seen recently, like, people were kind of, like, trying to, like, defame you or, like, bring down your company. And I just think I'd seen that a lot recently, and I didn't know if any of that was true or what you had to say about that. If you are in this verse, right, the Mr. Beast verse, we all know exactly what Theo's talking about. It's this big controversy that I just breezed over. Again, you got to go look up all the details for yourself. But all Mr. Beast says is he goes, some of my projects, we employ thousands of people. He goes, it's really difficult to stay on top of every single person that works for you. And he goes, on top of that, I when I started my company, I was 20 years old when I hired my first employees. And he said the way he used to hire employees was he'd go to Best Buy and just find guys he liked that worked at Best Buy and say, hey, want to come work for me? I'll pay you more. And his line of thinking was, well, if these guys are good enough to work at Best Buy, I'm sure they're good enough to work for me. I'm sure Best Buy did some kind of background checks. And then he said that obviously he learned that was a mistake, and now he has HR, and it's a whole like legitimate hiring process, background check thing. But he said, obviously he was essentially a kid trying to figure out how to start a business. He just thought, oh, these guys are safe to work at Best Buy. They're probably safe to work with me. And I, apparently that wasn't the case. So, but he gave what is known as a media trained answer, right? He didn't really answer the question. He answered it, but he didn't really answer it, right?
He gave a answer, but it wasn't answering the question.
Yeah. So that was the thing that bothered me. Other than that, I thought it was a genuine, because again, I've watched the guy for years. I thought it was a pretty genuine interview.
I've heard rumor that he's kind of a douchebag and he treats people terribly. What do you know about that?
No, I think people are greedy and selfish, and they want more. I think he treats people fine. Like, what do you think you deserve if you as a willing participant agreed to be in a Mr. Beast video? What do you think you deserve?
So specifically, there was a guy. What was the drama with the guy who didn't stay in the solitary video? Do you know about that?
Did the guy, was he supposed to leave solitary confinement or not leave it, and he did?
Something to that effect. I didn't know if you knew the details
I have
of it.
no idea. No, the only stuff I've ever heard is people being fussy bitches, and they just want more. They're like, oh, Mr. Beast has so much money, why can't he just give me more? That's the only stuff I've really heard in that sense. I think he's an above board guy myself, from what I know about Jimmy. That's his real name is Jimmy, but I think he's a legit guy.
Except for when he swung that excavator around and beat that guy into the side of
That
it.
wasn't Mr. Beast, though, was it?
That was David Dobrik.
Oh.
different guy. I thought Carter was doing a bit. I thought that was a bit. I didn't know that was serious.
No, but
David Dobrik killed somebody with an excavator?
He basically did. He bashed some guy's skull in.
Jesus Christ.
The problem is, so
It's such
the only reason I press on, so Mum commented and just said, maybe not a good topic if you don't have all the details. The problem is,
You got a word from our manager.
we got word from manager. Podcast isn't going well this episode. This is twice we've been warned. But no, the thing is, if you are me and Calvin's age and you spend time on the internet, I'm not talking about stuff you've never heard of, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
you get what I'm saying.
You know, I think the best thing to come out of all that Mr. Beast was the internet comment etiquette video titled "Just Kick them when they're down."
Internet comment etiquette is a legend.
He went through and commented. That's what he does. He comments on videos, and he went through all the Mr. Beast drama, and he basically was making fun of the people that were making fun of or trying to tear Mr. Beast down.
Yeah.
Making fun of Mr. Beast. You know, because he's been on the internet longer. I mean, he's an OG.
Eric from Internet Common Etiquette.
He's been
one of the originals. Yeah.
And he's never got. I mean, he's popular, but he's never got to the size of Mr. Beast. So I think, he was just kind of above the whole thing, and he was like, because if you've been on YouTube long enough, it happens that literally any popular YouTuber that gets big enough, everybody comes for them.
Right.
And tries to tear him down.
Just because they're big and successful. Is this the David Dobrik video?
This is the excavator clip. Yeah.
This is so good.
I don't know as if there's. Is this
It's only
have the
good because-
actual clip of Jeff hitting it?
Yeah. Watch.
Oh, it's
All right.
it's the actual video.
This is
Oh,
from
Jesus
Devin the
Christ.
Super Tramp,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? Oh no.
Oh, and he got caught up on the rope too.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I guess that is it. That was it, huh?
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball
All
of
right,
wax.
so-
replay.
So,
I mean,
Oh,
who
I
thought
don't-
that was a good idea?
all right, I have a lot of problems with this because the guy on the rope was a little bit of an idiot. For one, he should have been paying a little bit more attention. And I know he probably smacked into it pretty good, but also don't lead with your head.
No,
Also-
no. You're totally missing the point there, right? I agree the guy's an idiot because if you don't have somebody that knows how to operate that equipment, I would not trust them to swing me around like that.
That too.
That's the point where I think he's an idiot. But keep in mind, these guys are good friends, right? So imagine it was you or I, except for neither of us knew anything about equipment, right?
Yeah.
You would trust me as your sibling, right, to do it, probably.
Yeah.
Probably, hopefully.
I don't know. But
run- to
the
run
problem
the-
is
run the
the problem
equipment.
is you and I know a thing or two about hydraulic equipment, and would know better than that, right?
Yeah.
We unequivocally would know better than that. If we
Yeah.
wanted to do something that stupid, we would understand that if you were being fucking flung high and fast on the outside, that if you want to bring them down safely, you got to slow down real slow,
Right,
and keep pace with that outward momentum.
It's a physics thing, not a hydraulic thing.
Right.
but-
All right.
Well, no,
Let
I'm
me-
just saying we understand
Let me come back to
the equipment. I'm not even saying physics. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
sense.
say, and it is physics at the end of it, but we just understand. Like these guys they
think-
barely know how to drive a car.
Yeah,
They
these
ride
guys have
around
more-
in Teslas
they
that
got more
drive
money
themselves.
than brain. They got
Yeah.
more money than brain. And my problem with it is it's actually something kind of cool and fun to do. And because they put it on the internet, because this guy was stupid, because he got hurt, not saying that everybody should play with equipment, but it also kind of ruins it for everybody else. It makes it illegal and
Well, it's not going to be made illegal.
wow, I'm being a little dramatic.
How did
but-
they get the excavator in the middle of the water like that?
They just
though?
rented it and drove it out
Yeah,
there.
that's not legal. You can't just drive an excavator into the water
That's
like
that's.
that.
I'm sure maybe they got into some trouble. Who knows? But you can get away with a lot of shit when you're filming. Like if you get permits to film the shit, then you're like, whoa, it's like making a movie. You can get away with a
Yeah.
lot of shit under that umbrella.
I think the main problem with that is the idea would be to let go of the rope, and he
Oh.
must have got stuck. Obviously,
I don't
his
know,
foot
is he-
got stuck.
Yeah.
No, I think they were just given rides where they swing them around in circles.
Well,
Yeah,
then
it's
why
just-
would they be in
also,
the water?
You
It's
want to
supposed to be
hear?
fun.
I'm in deep on all that lore. I know more or less what happened, but it started out slow and tame. So if there was a problem, like you said, you let go of the rope and jump off. You saw how high he was, right?
That would have
Yeah.
been a
So
big
you
splash.
understand you understand how fast you had to be going to be up that high, right? That water below him is like 4 feet deep. It's not super deep,
Yeah.
right? He's up that high. He's going that fast. He's probably struggling to hold on. The excavator stops immediately. He's still moving. There's no time for him. He's still just flinging on, holding on for dear life. And all of a sudden, oh shit! Here's the boom arm. Bam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How many
there's
YouTube
there's no
videos-
time to think about
How
it.
many YouTube videos have you seen of people getting towed on sleds around a corner and they slam into a wall?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it should be fairly common sense stuff, but
The most messed up part about it is David Dobrik, the guy that slammed the guy into the excavator.
was David running it?
Yeah, he was the one running
okay.
it, and he's never actually apologized. He's never made amends for it, and he still does messed up shit. Like he paid somebody like a ridiculous amount of money to make an eyeball sculpture that he has in his house now. This guy Jeff almost lost his eye from this whole incident. It was like a big thing on the internet that this guy Jeff almost lost his eye. And throughout all this, David Dobrik is like constantly posting like eyeball artwork on his social media. He buys a giant eyeball statue. Like, he's just being a real jerk about it. On top of this, Casey Neistat filmed a documentary about David Dobrik. And during this time, Casey's documentary, the idea was it for it to be like David Dobrik, like the new star of the world. Like, this guy's going to be the shit, right? And throughout all of this, Jeff gets hurt. David's true personality, his true colors get shown.
Yeah.
And the video ends up being about kind of what a scumbag David is. And Casey Neistat premiered it at a film festival. I don't remember which one. But he said he doesn't know if he'll ever release the video because it makes David look so bad. And he feels so guilty about how bad it makes David look because he used to be friends with David. He's not anymore. David won't talk to him anymore because of this video Casey made. But Casey's conflicted and hasn't released it yet.
So I was just about to ask...
Tanner just said it's like the people on the rope swing that swing and don't let go of the rope and swing back into the land. Very true.
Yeah. My question is, can you elaborate on who David Dobrik is a little bit and tell us how he became famous? Because I have absolutely no idea. I know he's famous and he pops up on my social media, but I have no idea what he's from. He's
not from anything. He's from Vine.
He just seems like an idiot.
He is. So he gained popularity on Vine, just doing dumb Vine stuff. There's very few people on Vine in the early days that I think really had any talent. Some of those guys that had talent are still out there creating. Most of the people were just early to it, right? David was early, but he had some knack for it. I have no idea. But he ended up being one of those guys that lived on Vine Street in California. Do you remember this?
I remember that was like where the top Viners
all
were.
the top Viners, they got together because they all wanted to make Vines together.
And this is why Vine ultimately died, right? Because they went on strike together.
Yeah, all the Viners got together. They were all living on Vine Street in California. David Dobrik's one of these guys. They're all doing Vine together. They start getting uppity, and they were making money already because brands would come to them. They were already doing brand deals, right? And posting these brand deals on Vine and making money through Vine. Vine was making no money at the time, I don't believe. Or maybe little to none, right? It was not making a lot of money.
None of these services did back then, I don't think. Not a lot.
It just hadn't quite been figured out yet, right?
YouTube was losing money for a long time.
Yeah, it was supported by Google. That was part of the only reason it stayed afloat, right? Vine, I think, was owned... Vine might have been independent. I think now it's kind of owned by Twitter.
I thought it was Twitter at
maybe
the time,
maybe
too.
It was Twitter at the time even, but they could not justify paying their creators the way YouTube did at the time, right? And all these Viners got uppity and greedy and said, if you're not going to be willing to share revenue with us, we're not going to post here. We're going to post other places. And Vine just said, we're not going to pay you. So then all the creators said, fine, we're going to be done posting. And then kind of overnight, the app ended up folding and closing. And all these guys that were on Vine, they all went to YouTube and started making YouTube videos together. David Dobrik, he started a new type of vlog that was like reality TV on crack, right? And when I say reality TV, I mean because it's somewhat, these people aren't 100% acting, but they're hamming it up for the cameras. You know what I mean? They're heightened versions of themselves. If they get into an argument, it's all heightened. It's not real. You know what I mean? You understand how reality TV works, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like reality TV in that sense that it's actually his friends, but they're hamming it up for these videos. So they do some scripted stuff, but it's mostly a vlog with his friends, but they're all hamming it up. And his videos were 4 minutes and 20 seconds every video, every vlog. It was quick. It was real snappy, bang, bang video, right? That's my new thing, by the way. If you haven't heard me say bang bang a lot, I've been saying bang bang a lot. Snappy
Bing,
bang
bing.
bang video, right?
Bang, bang.
And he always put music in it, and it was always had this uplifting thing. Every video felt like listening to Tongue Tied by Group Love, okay? That's the vibe of all his videos. And I loved him. I did love his vlogs. If he was posting them to this day, I'd probably still be watching him. But that was his big thing. Pandemic happened. He had stopped vlogging for the pandemic. This video where he slammed Jeff into the excavator, they were preparing a big comeback vlog after they had shut down for the pandemic. They were like, all right, it's time. We're coming back. And they were planning all this stuff, doing these big stunts for a video. And then Jeff got hurt, and David never returned to YouTube. But he does run a successful pizza joint in Southern California called Dobrik's. It's a brick oven pizza place called Dobrik's.
Retired.
Guy's
That's what
name
he
is
does.
David Dobrik.
So that's what he does
Dobrik's
now?
Pizza.
Now,
Yeah.
tell me how we became friends. So all that kind of makes sense. I understand the vlog part, but it wasn't just a vlog with his friends. He was friends with a lot of famous people, I thought.
Because, well,
Oh,
that was
Josh.
part of it, right? The early days of Vine. Well, Josh Peck was an early Vine guy. All these guys were early Viners.
So
it
all
just
these
so
people
happened that
all these people that are in his videos lived on Vine Street with him.
yes,
So
initially,
how
that's
he
what
became
happened.
Friends with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all the biggest people on Vine initially, and then obviously once he started getting traction on YouTube, now he's a big YouTuber, and all the YouTubers want to be friends with him, and then pretty soon you're a legitimate celebrity, and he's also that smarmy type of guy where he's out there kissing up to Howie Mandel, and Ethan Klein from H3H3 is the one that treated Howie Mandel properly, right? He's now brought him into the fold. But this was years of Ethan shitting on him and trolling Howie Mandel because Howie tried to start a podcast way late to the game. Howie Mandel, famous for comedy at some point, America's Got Talent all of my life.
Yeah, mostly.
I do listen to Howie's podcast now, and I think it's all right. I'm not here to shit on Howie, but my
Howie.
point is because Howie is mainstream successful, David Dobrik kissed his ass and wanted to be friends with him. If you're a real YouTuber, right? Ethan from H3 had way more subscribers and views on his podcast than Howie did. So by Ethan going on Howie's podcast, he's doing Howie a favor, right? Because Howie's not bringing as many clicks as Ethan is right now. So after years of trolling the guy, they finally got together and did a podcast together. That's how you go about celebrities. You don't have to just kiss people's ass because they're a legacy character. You know what I mean? And that's how David Dobrik was. So that's part why he was able to climb that social ladder. So that's the thing. I just I guess I still see him pop up every once in a while, and I just don't understand how he's relevant or how he's entertaining in any capacity.
If you want to talk about a punchable face.
yeah, I agree. And bad laugh too. His laugh was annoying. It was a fake laugh, obviously, just for the videos, but it was annoying. But no, I mean the great thing is like Jeff, he still does YouTube. He does his own thing, Jeff FM, and he's actually friends with Tana Mojo, Tana Mongu.
Oh, really?
They do a lot of shows together. They're great. Everything evolves. So just David put a lot of these guys on the map, kind of, in my opinion. But these guys are also Zane and Heath. They do a good podcast. They were characters from David videos. They're all doing their own stuff, and it's still out there. And David just isn't a part of it.
Did you say it's Frank FM?
Frank FM. Lake
What? No, it's Jeff FM.
I don't know why I just started Frank FM.
That's our local radio
Frank.
station, right?
I was trying to think of the number.
Frank's getting
Is it
ready for Christmas.
107.9?
107.5 Frank
107
FM.
yeah.
Frank FM.
Rocking the lakes and mountains.
That's 104.9.
That's the Hawk.
The Hawk.
That's the
With
Hawk. Rocking the legs and then there's a 100.3 WAGB.
Wolfboro, Laconia, Concord.
But
That's good stuff.
yeah,
You can't forget about the blimp, obviously.
102.9 WBLM.
The rock and roll blimp.
It's a blimp. It's a blimp.
It's a blimp, Frank. It's a blimp. We listen
Good
to a
stuff.
lot of radio around here. I think I said it before. I wish this was radio.
One thing that I miss a little bit is I don't really miss the radio. Sometimes I miss the charm of the radio for like getting dragging yourself through all these commercials to listen to 2 or 3 songs and then to drag through another 3 minutes of commercials.
Yeah, I
And
agree. That's painful.
Not picking a song. There's a little bit of a charm to it though.
And then when a song you actually like comes on,
You're
and it's
like,
like, crank it up.
Yeah.
yeah. So there's a little bit of nostalgia value, but I don't know. I think about all those hours doing firewood
Listening to the radio.
with your
Oh my
with
God.
your radio.
I had like 5
headphones.
presets on my headphones, so when one
Yeah.
went to commercial, you'd click to the next station, and a lot of times they were all 4 on commercial.
And most of the time they were all fuzz because the
Yeah.
headset didn't work that well. So you're listening to mostly fuzz, or you have to turn your head a certain way, so you're
Yeah.
splitting the whole time like this, so you can listen to the
Then you
radio.
gotta, yeah, your neck hurts by the time you're done. You guys ever think about like when we started splitting firewood, like we had to be like, hey, it would be better if we had like something to like plug our ears or something. Like that's kind of how I remember. I don't remember it being like, here, boys, when it's time to split wood, you wear your gloves, your goggles, and your hearing protection. I don't remember it being like that. I remember it being like, my ears hurt.
Well,
I might be wrong. I don't know.
I don't
but
recall ears hurting, but I do recall a time where we never wore hearing protection.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I
And it
remember
was
for a
just-
while we didn't wear any hearing
and
protection.
then we got those. It wasn't long though. It
no,
wasn't
it
very
wasn't
long.
terribly
okay,
long, but
yeah, you're talking about when we started splitting firewood to sell.
Yeah, once
we
it
went-
became a business, then we got the
And
regular
we did
3M.
have the yellow ones. There was
yeah,
a couple
no, we
pairs
had
of yellow.
3M
but they
noise
were-
canceling headphones.
There were no.
but,
It wasn't radio.
but that's
ones,
what I
but-
felt. I felt
It
like
was a
we had
long
to like.
time.
But
like,
for the years we did Nanny Cathy's wood and our own wood before we were selling
Right.
it, we never had any hearing protection ever.
and that shit is loud.
Yeah, especially with the saw going and the
Chainsaw
splitter.
and the splitter going at once.
And then once we get the conveyor, we had it.
That thing howls.
Wow.
Once
Yeah.
we started doing it for real, yeah, that's when we got all the gear. But that's what I remember.
But
I
that
just remember-
radio
yeah.
headphones was a huge
Game
revelation.
changer, life changer.
Yeah.
Now I
I do
use
remember.
Bluetooth headphones, and I can't imagine going back to the radio ones. But
Yeah, the commercials are really terrible. Like,
Especially-
there's not a lot of people that advertise on the radio, so it's like the same commercial, sometimes twice in the same break,
yeah,
and it's like
it's like
just-
what is going on? Well, and when you're
then you
splitting
have-
firewood, you're generally only listening to stuff for hour increments, right? Over the course of an hour, sometimes it can be bad. Like you'll hear like 5 or 6 songs over the course of an hour.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty tough.
So you gotta beat midday, and I think it's the
Yeah, drive time.
yeah, you know,
I think
during
it's the
drive
Hawk
time,
that
you're
does
good.
a wicked long block.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kayla's classic lunchbox. There's
Wicked-
certain times a day you can catch.
You can actually listen to the radio.
Yeah, but you gotta time it right. During the slow season, it's just a lot of.
you gotta know. And if
Commercials.
you're listening to the buzz in the morning, that is
There's
you
a certain time window. Like I feel like early in the morning, it's all right.
8
and
to
then,
9 on the buzz. That's your window.
And then because a lot of times
Really,
When I-
sometimes you get like 8 to 9:30.
I think
maybe.
Well, I was gonna say from like 6:30 to 7:30, it's basically commercials.
Yeah.
I will listen.
They're
Sometimes I would
supposed.
listen.
They're supposed to start at 5:30.
What, the buzz?
Yeah.
I think that does start early.
I know, but so it's supposed to start at 5:30, but usually Greg comes on and you can hear him set his coffee on the desk and he'll say like 1 or 2 words and then they'll
Play
go
a
to commercial.
song.
Yeah, he'll play a song, commercial break, come back, play a song. He'll say 2 or 3 words.
they'll
You know
do
what
the
I mean?
news, the traffic.
Yeah, like
commercial break.
the
Yeah.
show takes hours to actually get started.
Well, and I guess that's probably what it is, because when I tune in, a lot of times I would tune in at 6 or 6:30 or something like that when I was driving to work. I was getting to work at 7.
Yeah.
And you would turn it on, it would be in commercial, they'd come back, do the traffic, the weather, and Kelly would say something about sports, and then it would go back to commercial, and then I'd be at work and turn it on for a second, and they'd say a couple things, and it'd go back to commercial, and
It's
it
really tough.
You got to wait till the 8 o'clock hour, really.
and then they start a segment where who's the douchebag or whatever. That's when something actually happens that you want to listen to.
Yep. No, it's unfortunate. If we could somehow get Greg's attention, though, like I would love to get on Greg's radar somehow. You know, I feel like he doesn't know anything about YouTube, so if we could get on his radar,
You got to go to the buzzball.
he'd be like, can you believe it? These 4 brothers in New Hampshire, they just started their own thing on the internet. It's kind of like the radio.
He probably would say that too.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything. He'd be like, oh, I just thought it was neat. These guys are kind of pioneering something over there, just doing it in their basement. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
They have their own podcast now.
Yeah, they know a little bit about.
Yeah, they do. But
Greg,
maybe
Greg knows who Joe Rogan is.
If you did that 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, then I think you'd be onto something. But
all I'll say is if you guys can get this clip to Greg, I would say he's maybe my biggest inspiration in terms of wanting to be a media personality. That has always been.
I do.
I've always strived to be Greg in the Morning Buzz.
I do always, or back in the day, I always remember listening to the show and thinking how cool it would be to be on a radio show, and that's all you did. You just
we
showed
used to
up,
pretend that
talked
we
on the
were
phone.
doing Greg in the Morning Buzz in car rides.
Yeah, long car rides. Specifically,
You and Caleb.
specifically in our camper. This is what we would do in the camper. Because people, you're stuck in the RV for a long time, and even though there's more space in the car, you do get sick of each other.
Yeah.
And probably everyone was sick of listening to us, and so what we'd do is we'd open the side window, and you remember doing this? We'd stick our head out the window while we were driving, and we would talk to
with
each
the
other like
screen.
we were doing a radio show.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun
Yeah.
on the way to Florida.
Yeah.
Greg in the Morning Buzz
Yeah.
coming to you live from.
We did we had
camper.
a segment too. We were like, "Give me that quote, whoa."
Give me that quote.
Where we quote a
quotes.
movie, and you'd have to guess what that quote was from.
Yeah, I don't have one off. the
We
top of my
We
head.
should actually make sound bites for that, so we could do segments. We can do "Give me that quote" and have
Yeah.
a sound bite. Give me
Now
the
you're talking
change,
about
you filthy
structuring
animal.
our show a little bit.
Well, if we wanted to do it more like radio, what was that one from? Do you hear it? Give me the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah, I
the
couldn't tell you what the
change.
real. I couldn't tell you what the real quote is.
Keep-
Movie, but it's
keep-
but
Keep the home alone, you filthy animal.
the yeah. You
Give me
talking
the
about
change. I don't think
Keep
that's a
what,
real
what,
movie.
what is it?
I don't
What did
It's
you
a-
say?
it's a real
Keep the
movie.
change.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Filthy
Are you
animal.
sure?
Yeah, it's a real movie.
I don't think it is.
Because they have a different movie in Home Alone
It's-
Lost
yeah.
in New York. That's
Yeah.
the same
Are
character.
you sure they didn't?
It's based on something. Angels with Filthy Souls. I
Yeah,
don't think
that's-
it's a real movie. I think it's just.
I'm pretty sure.
a movie.
I
in
thought it
Home
was a
Alone.
real movie though. In the first
Carter,
one,
look up Angels with Filthy Souls because that's the
fake.
name of-
It's a fake gangster movie in Home Alone.
Yeah.
I know the name Snakes.
Snakes. Why do I know this? Such a good movie. We were talking about it at work. If you were going to
You
say
sound
your
like a
top
snake.
3 Christmas movies, what would your top 3 be?
Top 3 Christmas movies. Well, it's tough because do you go classic or do you go what you actually like?
I rip it like a Band-Aid. You know, I say Home Alone 1 and 2 and Christmas Vacation.
You put Home Alone 2 on the. You put.
I
that
think you got to
over-
have Elf on there. Elf is
Elf is
Elf
good.
is up there for me.
I like Elf, but there have been times in my life where I've watched it too much. Like
Yeah.
people around me have
Yeah.
really loved it, and
There's
I
moments I love.
used to watch Elf in the middle of summer with my group of friends. Like it was like Elf and Benchwarmers were like 2 of the top watched movies, and it didn't matter what time of year it was. Son of a nutcracker!
Yeah,
I've always loved Rudolph. I love the claymation.
I haven't watched that one in a long time.
See, for me, Home Alone 1 has a lot of stuff that I love. I love Home Alone
I don't think
1.
you can beat Home Alone.
But Home Alone 2 is so good. There's so much stuff in Home Alone 2 that is just, it lives
Is
as
that-
large in my mind as Home Alone 1.
Is that where he finds the ghost of the toy box man?
Yeah.
Duncan's toy chest?
Yeah.
And he gets the dove.
Toy Story.
I
Yeah.
just I think, you know, if you'll allow me to count Home Alone 1 and 2 as one, I would count it as one, but if I'm not allowed to count it as one, I'm sorry, they're holding up top spots on my Christmas movie
Honestly,
list.
you know, I'm not.
I feel like
I
I'm
wouldn't
missing
disagree.
one. I feel like I'm missing one that
National Lampoon's obviously.
Christmas
Christmas
Vacation.
Vacation's got to be number one. Right?
Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus,
yeah.
it's good, but as
Yeah.
I've grown up, I don't love it the way I did as a kid.
I'm just a Tim Allen fan.
Yeah,
so.
Tim Allen's good.
I am too. Don't get me wrong. I love Last Man Standing, but
I actually want to watch that show a little bit more.
Last Man
Also,
Standing
Home Improvement.
or Home Improvement.
Home Improvement too. Both. But actually, Home Improvement is the one I was thinking of that I do want to watch.
Home Improvement is a little dated. It's not. It's all right, but I would say like from shows of that era, like I don't watch it the whole show. I watch clips on TikTok. That's how many times throughout the podcast have I said clips on TikTok. But anyway, I
And
watch
you
it
still
in
haven't
clips.
made any.
Yeah, catch us on clips on TikTok.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm gonna start doing some clips. But Roseanne is a show from a similar time period as Home Improvement. Roseanne holds up, whereas Home Improvement is a little tackier, I think. Not that there's not still funny moments. And if you're a fan of the art of the joke, these older sitcoms are like really hokey, and so you can see the art of the joke. It doesn't always necessarily hit you as funny, but you can see the art of the joke of Tim Allen and what was supposed to be funny.
I
here,
think
even
Four
if it doesn't.
Christmases. Is that what you're missing, Curtis?
Four
No.
Christmases is a good.
Yeah.
That one's very funny.
Fred Claus.
Fred Claus is also another Vince Vaughn.
Yeah,
I
Vince
actually
Vaughn's good.
Four Christmases I do enjoy, but it's
When the
I-
kid gets the
almost watched
flashlight
it.
for Christmas.
Yeah, I've almost watched it too many times. Like, I think that was a really funny movie the first time I watched it, but then after watching it the fifth or sixth time, the jokes don't hit as hard.
Here's what I would say about Four Christmases for me. Four Christmases is funny enough. I don't have to watch it at Christmas time, and it also isn't like it is Christmassy, but it's not. Home Alone 2 doesn't have hardly anything to do with Christmas other than it happens at Christmas time. But New York City at Christmas time is so Christmassy that
It's iconic.
it's iconic. Every piece of that movie is iconic. And
it's almost like a Die Hard-esque type movie. It happens at Christmas time, but it really doesn't revolve around Christmas.
But Home Alone 2, for whatever reason, has that Christmas energy that I love. It looks and feels like Christmas to me.
I'm talking about
Four Christmases. Yeah, Four Christmases.
it doesn't have a Christmas energy to
but
it, really.
it's wicked funny, and I could watch it any time of the year. It's so funny.
It's almost it's the same. It's in the same vein as Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, even though that's
Right.
Thanksgiving. It's not a Thanksgiving. The movie
You could watch it any time. It's just a comedy. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It revolves. The plot does somewhat revolve around Thanksgiving. He's trying to get home for Thanksgiving dinner. That's why I classify it as a Thanksgiving movie. But I think the reason we like to watch it every year on Thanksgiving is just to give it its proper due, because it's kind of an overlooked movie. I think I don't think it gets talked about nearly enough. But we give it its proper due by watching it every year on Thanksgiving. I actually didn't get to finish it this year because I left early to do a podcast, but we were watching it on like a Friday.
Yeah, I wanted to finish Uncle Buck too because
Uncle Buck, another great.
I started that one the other day.
John
with
Hughes.
everyone,
We're big John Hughes fans. If you didn't know, John Hughes wrote Christmas Vacation, and not necessarily the screenplay, but he wrote an article in National Lampoon's magazine called like Christmas 55 or something. Whatever. Clark pulls out the old reel-to-reel tape and starts watching them when he's stuck in the attic. Whatever that tape says, it says Christmas something. That's the name of the article, the story he wrote for the National Lampoon's magazine, and that story is what inspired the movie Christmas Vacation. So, it's obviously not a John Hughes production entirely. It's a National Lampoon's production, but we're talking about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Home Alone, Uncle Buck. These are all John Hughes. And I think it's interesting that Christmas Vacation also has that tie-in to him. So,
well, I would say for me, Christmas Vacation, probably Christmas Vacation, Elf, and then I don't know. I might have the. I'd like the I think I'll probably pick the Santa Claus because I
Really?
do think it's a.
it does have that Christmas magic feel.
I think it's a. Yeah, I remember watching it a lot.
A real polarizing one is Polar Express?
I hate the Polar Express.
Yeah. You love it or you hate it. I mean,
As a kid, I hated it. As an adult, I get into it. I
Really?
get
I would
freaky
say-
with it. I get
That's
freaky
what
with it.
I would say it was more opposite for me. I enjoyed it as a kid.
There's something about it that I really like. There's a feeling you get from watching it,
Yeah.
especially the scene he goes into the
And he rings the bell.
No, he goes into the cart with all the marionettes. There's like this weird feeling of being scared and alone at Christmas, and it's creepy, but then also you get some sort of
Whimsy.
Christmas joy out of it.
I agree. It gives me butterflies now
the
as an
creepy-
adult. The
the
creepy elves, the way
homeless
that
guy,
the
hobo.
bum.
Yeah,
Everything about it does give me weird butterflies in a way that I enjoy now as an adult.
you never see his parents.
As a kid, I didn't care.
I
about
feel
it.
never
like-
see his parents, like their faces anyway.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of sad parts to the Polar Express. It's kind of like the movie Onward, like just
just a real bummer.
like I mean, there's so many different parts. Like when he loses, obviously he gets his bell back, but the animation style is really what bugs me about.
When
the
did you
movie.
watch Onward?
Yeah.
How did you get? I didn't even know you knew what this movie was. Now you're all of a sudden you're critiquing it. When
No,
did you see Onward?
I think Allie and I watched a while ago, and it was a good movie up until the end.
I enjoyed
You
it.
thought the movie was gonna come to a good, like, oh, what a wholesome ending, and then it's. Have you guys seen
I
Onward?
Is that
watched
the
it,
one
I
where
forget
he
what
doesn't-
happens. I do remember.
Oh,
Being
they're
bummed
trying to
out.
He's
save
never
his
met
dad.
his dad.
The kid-
There's they find out his dad used to be a wizard, and there's a way they might be able to bring him back to talk to him.
Yeah,
So
they
they-
find his pants are trying to lead him. His
Yeah,
dad's
they- 'cause
pants are leading him
Yeah,
to his dad.
the kids tried to bring. He tried to bring his dad back because he found this thing that his dad left for him to bring him back.
Right.
And so the kid finds it, tries to bring him back, and something happens halfway through and it gets interrupted, and only his legs get formed. So that's why the pants are trying to lead him to finish forming him so that they can
Have a conversation.
finish the day out. And so him and his older brother go on a quest to bring their dad back for the day, and they had 24 hours to do it. And then this monster comes at the end of the movie. They're just getting ready
Just
to
about to bring their dad back.
bring their dad back, and this monster comes, fucks the whole thing up, and the older brother, they finally get the dad to come back, but as he's forming, they're fighting off the monster, and the brother who really wanted to meet the dad said to the older brother, "No, you go talk to him." And so the older brother went to talk to the dad, and the kid that really wanted to meet him never met him, and that was the end of the movie.
But I'll be honest, I'll give it a more charitable take because I actually kind of liked it. The movie's not perfect by any means, and I think it tries, rather than just being a good movie and having an emotional message, it tries too hard to have an emotional message. That's the problem with it, is it really wants you to feel some type of way rather than making you feel some type of way because it's good, right? What ends up happening is the younger sibling, right? He never got to really meet his father. He was too young when his dad passed away, so he never really got to meet him. So when he thinks he's going to have a chance to meet his dad, he's really excited. And so over the course of this adventure with his older brother, he realizes his older brother has been like his dad his whole life. His older brother has been there for him in the way a father would be.
And
right?
That's the message.
But
You
on
don't have
top of
dad.
that, no. On top of that, he realizes that his older brother actually knew his dad, grew up with the dad, and knew him, and missed him a lot. You know what I mean? Missed him more than the younger brother did, because the younger brother never got to meet him. Right? The younger brother felt like, oh, I never got to meet him. I'm so sad. But the older brother, he ends up finding out over the course of this journey, the older brother also doesn't have a dad, but he also doesn't have his own older brother looking out for him, right? He's a dad to his younger brother, and he's got no dad to himself. So the younger brother realizes this over the course of the journey, and for whatever reason, there was some reason that only one of them could go talk to their dad. They couldn't both go. I don't remember what the reason was.
I think he was fighting off the monster or something. He was holding.
Yeah, or something. There was a reason only one of them could talk to the dad, and the brother realizes the older brother's willing to let the younger brother meet dad, but the younger brother realizes the right thing to do is to let his older brother have one more moment with his dad, and the younger brother realizes, I might not have ever got to meet my dad. That sucks, but I have my older brother, and he's there for me. So I'm going to let my older brother have this moment with dad. I actually thought it was a good message. I think it did try a little hard, but it just to give a fairer take than what Carter gave, because I did enjoy the movie. Chris Pratt drives a van with a unicorn painted on the side of it. Enough said.
Yeah.
Sold.
I mean,
Guinevere. That's the name of the van. It's
could've-
awesome.
I mean, it was just a hard twist at the end of the movie, and it was.
I didn't personally think it was that hard of a twist.
It was just. It just turned into a really sad ending.
I like movies with a message. I'm all for it, but there's something going on recently. Every single animated, design for kids movie has to have some deep, heavy message. Ever since Up, I think Up started it. They want them emotional. They want you crying. They want the parents crying. I don't think it's necessary to have in a kids movie.
I think back to messages of terrible movies. Encanto.
Still haven't seen it.
Yeah, never seen.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen.
All
it.
right. Well, let me just give you the breakdown. Basically,
Which I thought the movie was called Enchanto. By the way, I didn't know. I did not know it was Encanto. I thought it was Enchanto.
Enchanto. Basically, there's this magic house. This whole family has magic powers. Everybody that's born in this family has a magic power. They don't all learn about their power right away. They have to, as they get older, they learn about their power. It's kind of like a puberty type of thing. You get your power.
Like Teen Wolf.
This one girl didn't get her power. She got no powers. And
Like Sky High.
That's what I was gonna say. You're talking.
yeah, basically. So for whatever reason, the house is
That's a blast from
crumbling.
the
Everybody's
past.
losing their powers. Everybody's freaking out. She has to go on this quest to save the house. More or less. She saves it. Everybody at the end of the movie.
Going on a quest to save the house like Goonies. Keep going.
Everybody at the end of the movie. I'm trying to remember. I'm butchering it a little bit. Basically, everyone loses their powers. At the end of the movie, it's like, oh, we don't need our powers to be happy. Yada yada. We can be happy without our powers.
Being happy without superpowers like Incredibles.
I think that's what it was. All right.
Wait, when did
I
that
remember
happen
now.
in Incredibles?
She saves the day. She saves that day. She saves the
Jack?
house. She says, I realize now I don't need powers. I'm great just the way I am. And that should have been the end.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the movie, after she says, I didn't need powers this whole time. I could have been happy with my life. Then she gets her powers. and so it had a great ending, a great message at the end, being like, yeah, you don't need to be like everybody else. You don't need to have everything that everybody else has. You don't need special powers to make you special.
Right.
And then they just give her powers at the end, so she got what she wanted the whole time. So it was just
But she learned the message first.
That's the important part. She learned the message.
She learned the message first, but that doesn't mean then everybody else will be mad when they learn the message.
Yeah.
They pretend to learn the message, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At the same time, it is a Disney movie. Like you expect it to have a little bow on it at the end.
I
like
slept
to
through
Calvin's point of things being emotional and all this stuff all the time.
Have you seen the new Inside Out?
Have not.
no.
That was way too heavy on the social
Well, you got
commentary.
Inside Out
and,
though also is a heavier topic to begin with, don't you think? Even the first movie was heavier. It's literally dealing with human emotions. I don't know if there's a heavier topic.
Yeah, I guess there's really no way around it. But
It's not Toy Story, that's for sure.
Toy
was-
Story is pretty heavy. The last one,
Toy Story 3 makes you feel some type of way for sure.
I thought it was 4.
Yeah. and
Oh, I don't like Toy Story 4. It ends at 3 for me.
No, I
It
think
ends at 3.
4.
Yeah.
Actually, there was some good parts in 4.
There's some good parts
That's
in
on the Forky.
Let me say the animation in Toy Story 4 is incredible. But I would have preferred the movie to be called Woody Adventure or Woody and Forky or Woody and Bo Peep.
A spin-off.
It was a spin-off movie. Clearly, it was a spin-off movie.
Why can't they reboot Toy Story with a different family and a totally different set of toys?
Yeah, why not?
Why can't
Great
they just
concept. I love the concept.
just create just different toys, even if they're made up toys like Woody and Buzz aren't real toys in real life, even if they
Right.
just came up with some new toys and rebooted in a different house.
I mean,
You had said Sky High. Did you guys ever? This completely derail this. What you're
no,
talking
I'd love
about
to
now,
go
but
back to Sky High.
Did you guys ever,
Take us back.
as a kid, ever like you watch a movie like Sky High, and then you like have a dream at night like you're a character in the movie? There's 2 movies that I dreamt of like that I had superpowers, and I was like, that I can think of off the top of my head anyway, that I was a character in the movie and I had superpowers. One was Sky High and the other one was Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh yeah, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, same era of Disney movie.
Let me back up to Sky High and Dreamin'. I had a dream a couple times. This was a reoccurring dream, not a lot, but it reoccurred a couple times where I was really mad. I don't remember at which one of you guys I was really mad at in the dream, but I had a power that I could fly.
Oh God, Andrew.
And I was so mad. I just wanted to. I gotta think I was like 7. I just wanted to beat the shit out of you. I was so mad at you guys.
Curtis wants to fight everybody this podcast.
You guys are ganging up on me. In this dream, Dad held you like this. He was holding you.
Yeah.
And my goal was to fly around you and fly into you like Superman with my fists out and hit you in the gut.
This is how bad Curtis and Carter hated me as a kid. I don't know
Did you
what
ever
I
do
did.
it?
In the dream, did you ever Superman into my gut?
No, that was the problem.
For some reason, Dad was holding me so Curtis could Superman fly into me.
And for
It's
some
a fucked
reason,
up dream.
for some reason, I could never do it. I couldn't get the turn right.
You're just gonna spin circles around him, and you had to do this specific racetrack maneuver
And
to.
I remember this dream. I'm crying now. I vividly remember this dream and doing multiple flybys. And I just couldn't get the corner right.
Lightning McQueen.
You turn
Oh
right
my
to
God.
turn left.
What the hell?
That's
But it didn't happen a lot. But I did have that dream a couple times, and that was the only time that I had superpowers in a dream.
And you just wanted to fly right through my
But
gut.
it happened enough where, like I said, I still vividly remember
That
it
is
happening.
So funny.
It is really familiar, though, in a dream, having something, you're trying to do something, you're grasping at something so hard, but you just can't do it.
Yeah,
Happened
I
to me
can
a
relate
lot,
to that.
like just trying to scream.
Okay, yeah. So in the same vein as these dreams, my reoccurring panic dream as a kid is that all of a sudden it's Halloween day. We're about to go trick-or-treating, and I don't have a Halloween costume. In the same sense that you're like so frustrated, and it's like just out of reach, and it never works out. I used to have this reoccurring stress dream as a kid about my Halloween costume not being perfect, and trying to go trick-or-treating, and yeah, just a really stupid dream. But same vein as like trying to scream and you can't in your dream, you know?
Yeah. That's the worst.
Yeah.
More recently, the dream that I have that's like that is, we're going to, as a family, driving to Florida, and for some reason I was told I have to drive, and I'm like, I don't want to drive, and they're like, nope, it's your turn. And so then, but I'm in the way back, and for some reason, I'm driving the car from the third row. That's where I'm driving from, and I cannot see the road because everybody else is in the way. I'm like, get out of the way, I can't see.
I've actually had that exact dream, not Florida, but multiple occasions, being in the back seat for some reason, driving the car and crashing it because I couldn't see the road.
That's kind of weird. Maybe that's a twin thing. You're sharing that.
Possible. I have had that dream several times.
I've had a dream where I was driving a car, but I was in the center. There's a center steering and 2 seats on either side. That was kind of fun though. It was a cool car.
I've had a lot of dreams where I was either in the back of a truck or actually or driving it sometimes, but go around a corner too fast and fly off a cliff.
I used to have another dream as kids, where for some reason Curtis had to drive our Suburban, and in my dream we were all young enough that each of us were operating a pedal like in Rugrats. Like I had the brake, Carter had the gas, and Curtis was steering.
Madagascar.
And maybe it's Madagascar. We were like the
Toy
Madagascar
Story 4.
penguins.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I had a dream where we were doing this, and
I think they did that in Finding Dory too.
yeah,
The fish driving.
yeah. Finding Dory again, disappointing. A huge Finding Nemo guy, a little disappointed with Finding Dory.
Because they crowbarred a little message in there about the ocean. I mean, they did that a little with the first one, but it was very subtle and very.
Hey, has
well
Bear
done.
come down for his visit? Bring him into frame.
Bear.
Come here.
Get him on the couch.
Come here.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't care.
He don't care. He's his own man. He answers to no one.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
I think that's because there's no other dog here. Because if you call a dog and there's 2 of them,
Oh
they
yeah,
think
they compete for their
treat.
or attention or whatever it
Yeah.
is. They just don't want the other dog getting something that they're not, so they're more apt to listen to you. Well, I don't know. We want to get out of this biatch. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. We'll get out of here.
just can't close my eyes.
Torturing the dog.
It's Wednesday, Friday night. I think we're gonna do the episode later. I gotta work late on Friday, so probably be a later
Something's wrong with
episode.
me.
The gang's all coming too, right?
Yeah, we're gonna try and do. We gotta come up with a name for it. But it's gonna be our version of Protect Our Parks. So, coming out on Friday.
You gonna be here, Curtis?
Who's gonna your gang?
Yeah, the gang's coming back.
Oh man, I mean I'll be around, but I don't know if I want to be part of the episode.
Oh, loser.
Yeah.
Loser.
There's not enough mics anyway.
Yeah, how many people are there?
I don't know who else got to come. That's the plan, is to get the gang in here, but I still got to figure out exactly who's gonna show up.
Well, Caleb and I shared a mic last time. We could have shared it a little better if I wanted to, but
Yeah.
No, you can't. Caleb doesn't share.
well,
You're not gonna share with Caleb.
it was entertaining. Anyway, Div said here.
Yeah.
Good night, Amy.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah,
Amy.
thanks for watching, everybody. We're gonna get out of here. Got a busy schedule, so gonna keep to it.
Do you want to turn Yoda on?
Now the dog's sitting with me. Come here, get in frame. Come here.
I don't-
There he
I mean-
goes. Hey, buddy.
Let's to close it out.
Yeah, so this Yoda we have that's sitting here on set is a little animatronic. I believe he was sold at Home Depot, but he's just a little animatronic Yoda, and he does talk and he does move. Well, Curtis could probably swing his boom around right to his mouth.
Where's the speaker at, though?
Enjoy the festivities, you will. My ally is joy, and a powerful ally it is.
So in addition to his ally being Joy, he's
Always in motion, these holidays are a luminous season full of life you shall have.
it's a little freaky. The animatronics look pretty good. His face looks pretty good when he's talking.
Truly wonderful, the celebration.
All right, he's gonna keep going.
Yeah, he's not gonna stop. He's still kicking off. At least put him on camera, Carter, if you're gonna let him talk shit here. Yeah, he'll probably just keep going ape shit as long as we're sitting here. But yeah, we'll close it out.
Love you
and,
too, Amy.
Yeah, love you.
love you.
Thanks
I
for
love you.
watching. Thanks for the Chex Mix. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
My ally is joy, and a powerful